No live now, no music. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. How are you doing? I am Roderick Daly, your host of the Village Radio Talk Show. You can connect with us and I'm joined with our co-hostess, Dr. Joanne Bryant. You can connect us with us on Facebook, um, at Roderick Daly, at Sophia Willisey, at Joanne Bryant, at John Sampson, at Andre Doman, and on our Facebook page, The Village. Um, you can also connect with us on 92.1 FM, uh, Gospel JA, and come hang out. Come say hello with us. And I'm happy to be back after a couple of weeks.
Woo! Woo, 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 woo. Welcome back.
I'm,
Welcome
I'm,
back.
I'm excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to having some conversations with you guys. All right. So tell me, Dr. Brian, how you doing?
I am doing fabulous this evening. It's nice to see you back where you belong, behind the mic. So welcome, 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 welcome back. And glad to see you out of the hospital, feeling good, up and alert. So thank God for that.
Well, I'm most of those things that you're mentioning. So um, I'm truly excited to um, to be home with all of our individuals who are watching and working with us. So it's real exciting. We have a lot to talk about, a lot, and you know we were gonna wait on our co-hostess, but I think that Dr. Bryant and I will be doing a lot of the conversation tonight.
And it's all good. It's
Are you,
all good.
are you on
And
break?
huh?
Are you
No,
on break?
I didn't break. I worked 12 months. What are you talking about? Welcome to all our villagers and everything. I wish I was on break,
Yeah.
but I am not. So
Mm.
it's all good. It's all good.
Um, you know, Thank you for watching Viewing the Village, where we're dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any age, at any point, starting from today. You know what? You know what? I'm laughing at a little
What you
bit
what is that?
whenever I look in the mirror and I'm looking on camera right now, and I
Hmm.
see that my facial hair is growing back, and my head, I'm getting a little bit of hair on my head.
Mm,
Mm, But so I guess that's a good thing,
that's a great thing.
you know.
That's a great thing. Listen, you are a trooper, you're a fighter, and you motivate me and many other people who are joining us this evening. So,
Yes.
yeah, this is good. You make, hey, if someone have something to complain about, they have nothing to complain about. Because at the end of the day, when we see how hard you fight to just keep going, keep pushing, and from the hospital bed, you're giving news and you're reporting and you're fighting and arguing with us. Listen, it is nothing more than tremendous, and only God's grace that gives you the strength that you have to keep going, keep pushing. Listen, nothing to complain about at all.
You know, I haven't been able to come on for um, a couple of weeks,
Hmm.
and it's interesting because I guess this is my new normal, where I can't really do um, I can't be loud and excitable like I used to
You
be.
used to? Mm.
So
That's
that
a good thing. That's a good thing. Thank God for that. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Because you used to be too loud. So, take
I
it
don't
down.
I don't know what you want to I don't know what you're talking about. So before I even go any further, I want to wish happy birthday to my niece Ashley, my cousin Carlson, and tomorrow, Friday, is my aunt's birthday, Auntie Clarine. So I'm making sure that I wish them a joyous and happy birthday out there. So it's excited. And let's go Knicks. They're 2-0.
Yes, I'm happy for them.
Yeah, they're 2-0.
Finally, it's been years. My father's been holding on to hope for many years since, oh my God, I can't even remember, Patrick Ewing times.
Mm.
And he's been a faithful Knicks person. All the New Yorkers who believe in the Knicks, finally, they have their chance. So never give up. When you have the right team, you have a game plan and you're pushing along, all things are possible. So I'm happy for the Knicks.
You know, I have family members. They call me. Did you see what the Knicks did? Did you see this? They don't need this person. They don't need that person. And I'm like, okay, I feel you.
We're gonna wish the Jets the same love. You know,
The
the
Jets suck.
Jets.
And we'll not be talking.
Listen. We're gonna keep love. We're gonna keep the Jets in our prayers until they actually
The Jets suck.
get where. I'm not gonna say that.
The
We're gonna.
Jets.
We are not going to say that. And
The
thank
Jets.
you to all our listeners.
Jets. Or
Anderson,
the Jets.
Daniel, Empress,
Right.
John, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're not going to bad talk our teams, New York teams. It's okay. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
It's not.
Okay?
It's not about having nothing nice to say. It's just speaking the truth. They suck.
Okay.
Like, I'm a Knicks fan, but
Mhm.
I'm hopefully grateful for what they have done
Mhm.
so far. But I would love to see them go to the championships, but they have done nothing since the 70s but choke.
But it's okay.
Why is
This
it?
year, 2024 is a new year. Come on now. The Knicks, we can go all the way. Let's do it.
I don't know. I don't know what exactly you're talking about, but they
You
suck.
said what
Uh,
the Knicks, you
yeah,
said?
I want to lead us off with something that's irritated me
Oh
to no
Lord.
end.
Okay, what is it?
New York City, the
Oh.
Governor Hochul signed into law.
I knew you were good. The 20
Miles
mile.
an hour,
Mhm.
20 miles an hour speed limit.
Yes, he was talking about our Knicks, Jennifer Joseph. And I said, if he don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. We are wishing them all the way,
I am wishing them.
all the way success.
Listen, I am wishing them all the best.
Success.
I've just been a Knicks fan since 1982.
And you don't give up hope.
I've been a Knicks fan since 1982, and they went to the finals in 94 and 95 and 94 and 99.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 94 they should have won. 99 was tough, but the hope is there. But anyway, going back to the speed limit.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is going on, Dr. Bryant?
They
What
don't want people to drive. They don't want people to drive no more. And that's the problem. Because already people are frustrated when I have a driver who's doing 10, 15, even 25, it gets on my nerve. Now to go 20, I don't have road rage, but I do get aggravated on the road. So, um, if someone is going, those drivers who barely go 25, now it's like a green light for them to go 10. I might as well walk.
you know, last year I was coming from baseball practice with Grayson, and we went to Middle Village,
Hmm.
and the guy was we the it said 4 point something miles was 26 minutes, I believe it was.
Mhm.
A marathon runner runs under a 4 minute mile. So a person who's a Olympic runner would have got home, sat down, changed their clothes, take a shower, right? And maybe even start looking after dinner before I could get across the city in 4.1 miles.
Well, with congestion pricing and the tolls, the speed limit being lower, and all of that, that is your sign that they do not want drivers on the road. So I don't understand what they anticipate.
I think
You know,
I think it's not just that, right? So it's the MTA because
that push, that
people are getting upset with Mayor Adams, but we have to know that Mayor Adams doesn't own the road, right? Right? He doesn't own the roads. So the roads are owned by MTA, DOT, which is the state. So
hmm
I think that we need to look at removing Kathy Hochul from
a lot
office.
of people are not happy. They had a poll this week that a lot of New Yorkers, I would say 75% of New Yorkers are not happy with the congestion pricing because you're squeezing New Yorkers as it is. You know, the cost of living in New York is already high. To put congestion pricing and now to lower the speed limit, you already have people who have road rage, but this is going to cause people to flip a lot more.
You know,
um there was an incident this week that somebody ended up I'm not sure if he died. I think it was yesterday. So you're going to have more and more aggressive drivers losing control. So the lower lowering the speed limit to 20 doesn't guarantee that people are not going to die. There's people on the bike all the time. There's people doing all types of stuff that's not, you have no control over. So that's not going to cause, hey, we have no more car fatality. That is not the deal. Actually, I think it's going to be worse because people are going to get frustrated and say, hey, enough is enough.
I think that um, I was thinking about it, right? Because I'm oftentimes in the center of a lot of these conversations, right? You put up bike lanes, you put up bike racks,
Mm-hmm.
right? You put up congestion pricing,
Mm-hmm.
you lower the speed limits. Ladies and gentlemen, begin to look at the signs on the wall. Um, right? Look at the signs on the wall. This was a law that was enacted based on something that happened in 2013. 2013, so that's 11 years ago this year. That's before de Blasio changed the speed limit, before the state changed the speed limit to 25. So after the state changed the limit to 25, they went back to somebody who, a young kid, 13 years old, who was hit by a car and he died. And it's very unfortunate, but that's prior to Vision Zero,
Mm-hmm.
right? Prior to why didn't they name the Vision Zero law after this young man instead of 11 years this year
Mm-hmm.
changing the law to represent that? So we have to question our Democrats, right? We have to question our Democrats. When I look in Republican areas, they don't have speed cameras. A lot of the Long Island, which is very Republican,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have speed cameras. They have traffic light cameras. I believe in speed cameras in school, by schools and parks.
That was the original plan, the original reason why they put speed cameras.
Right. So I believe in that. I believe that you do lower the speed limit to 20, and you put speed cameras and you give hefty fines in school zones for people during school hours, right? So from 7 to 10 and 2 to 5, right? 7 to 10, 2 to 5, you have the speed zone limits. But after that, you put the limit at 30, and then you're driving on a highway like, in New York City, like Kings Highway, Linden Boulevard. They lower the speed limit on the belt. You're driving on a major highway like FDR, the speed limit is 40. Traffic needs to move, and there's zero indicator that shows that there has been a change. And it's kind of like what Hochul said about guns. I don't need the data. Yeah, the hell you don't need data. You need data points to prove these things. And right, they were only to be used in schooling, but it brings it. But that's the point, Jennifer. That's what that's what I'm alluding to, right? The economic girth of these different things, and the other thing is, you have a lot of these cameras in working class neighborhoods. People who don't have the opportunity to go and ask for some fight, right? Ask for, people who find out, as a matter of fact. And it's funny because as a chair of a local community board, I didn't even know that they were changing the speed limit. Jennifer, I got more than 2 speeding tickets. Right? Thank God, knock on wood, I haven't gotten any this year, but with ways, right? Because I've adjusted, and I will adjust to the 20 miles an hour. But it's going to be very frustrating. People don't have time like that. They don't. We don't have time to waste. That's not New York City, right? That's not New York City. They don't have time to waste. And like you said, Dr. Bryant, it's not about slowing down, Janice. It's not about slowing down. I don't know why people feel like slowing down. In many states, they don't have these speed limits, and they don't.
Because when I go to Pennsylvania, on some of their highways, it's 75 miles an hour.
Yeah, they don't have these issues. They give the city, Janice. The city wants to make money, just like Jennifer stated, right? Just like Jennifer stated, the city wants to make money, so they tell you a whole bunch of caca shit to try to convince you that the laws that they're putting into place, I mean, not just the city, but the state, right? That the laws that they're putting into place is better, they're better for you, right? And there's no data point for this, right? There's no data point because there are no cameras in rich areas. When I go to the doctor in Manhattan, and I drive down 2nd Avenue, right? Hey, Mrs. Pierre, how are you? Right? When I drive up Manhattan on 2nd Avenue, I don't see no cameras. I don't see any. Right? I had Janice.
Thank you for tuning in, people. Thank you.
I don't see no cameras on 2nd Avenue. I don't see none on 3rd. If you drive on Flatlands Avenue from East 58th to Rockaway Parkway, you have at least 7 cameras, right? And I don't even think I'm exaggerating. I think, let me see, there's one at a Shell gas station. There are a couple on 95th, 96. There's one at 95th. I come back the other way. You have a few more as well. So you might have 6 or 7 cameras, right?
It shouldn't be in our neighborhoods only. That's so true.
Yeah,
It's not even, and it's not equitable.
Yeah, Flatlands is a 4-lane street going 25 miles an hour. Seriously? Right? I don't know about anybody in this audience, but you know, I don't know about too many fatalities from car. I mean, you don't want it, and you don't want anybody to get hurt. Don't get me wrong, right?
It's 6 on Flatland, Jennifer said.
Right. Okay. So 6 on Flatlands, right? Okay. That's between Rockaway
Mm-hmm.
and East 58th Street. So Rockaway is East 96th Street, and then you go down into the early 70s, right? 76th Street, Ralph Avenue, then you go 59th and then 58th. So it's not even a mile and a half radius,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? It's not even a mile and a half radius. Not even a radius. Not even a
Eastern
mile
Parkway,
and
they put a lot on Eastern
Eastern
Parkway.
Parkway, which is a major highway. You have a 4-lane highway
Yeah,
that you can't drive on. That doesn't make sense.
yeah, there's a lot from like
Linden
block.
Boulevard is Linden Boulevard is covered. So they put these on these big highways, Rockaway Parkway, um, you know, eh,
North
eh,
Conduit.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you
Those
know,
are
and so you look at these things, and I got to say, thank God for Waze. If you don't have Waze, you know, if you don't have Waze, download it whenever you're going.
yeah.
Exactly, Benev. Right? Exactly. They pretend like accidents don't happen in Manhattan. A lot more accidents happen in Manhattan than they happen in Brooklyn and the Bronx. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I went to Staten Island. Like I said, my son plays baseball, so we travel all over. I went to Staten Island. The speed limit in the Republican area is 30 miles an hour. Why? Why in the Republican area is 30 miles an hour on a regular street? I'm not even talking about a Linden Boulevard or a Kings Highway or a Flatbush Avenue. Not even talking about that, right? I'm not even talking about.
More tickets for our people.
Yep.
Please continue. You know,
And that has to stop, right? And so we have to
and
we
they
have
wonder why people are leaving New York. They wonder why people are moving out.
so that brings me to a topic, right? I think, and Jennifer, you're in politics, and a few of you online are in politics as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also a crack of baloney that New York City needs more housing. I think it's a crack of baloney. And the reason why I think it's a crack of baloney is because the prices of housing is so expensive that people can't afford it.
Yep.
So people are couching their couch. What do you call it in school? Couch something.
Which couch potatoes?
No, not
Is
couch
that
potato. Not couch potato. Where they actually stay. They double up, right? They you stay on your sister's couch,
mm-hmm.
or you have a bed in the living room, because they raise your property taxes. They
I wish,
raise the
I wish that's what they were fighting for instead of the lower the speed limit. Fight
Yeah,
for affordable.
Jennifer, I don't agree. I don't think we need more afford. Yeah, we need affordable housing. Yes, yes.
Do.
Wait. Let me correct myself. We do need affordable housing,
And
but
what is considered affordable? Because
exactly,
$5,000 a month for a studio is not affordable for who? It's affordable for who? That's the
yes.
thing. It's not realistic. The prices that they have is pushing people out. And
ex-
that's the goal. It seems as though more and more the agenda is let's get a certain group of people to move down south so that
mhm.
a new set could stay up. And the thing is, going down south don't mean that hey, everything is better. I don't want to go to North Carolina. I do not want to go to the Carolinas with those racist people. I don't want to go to Florida. I don't want to deal with hurricanes. I want to be able to live comfortable where I'm not working 3 or 4 jobs and then my mortgage on my apartment is $4,000. It's reading a little box. Why? For a studio? No.
And
Let's
you know
be
what? You know what that does as well is beginning to push the prices of housing in other states up,
it does. It
right?
really, really do.
because people, I tell people, how could you want, not Jennifer, and I'm gonna correct myself, how could you want more housing if people are leaving? You've lost over the last census 3 congressional seats.
Mm-hmm.
So a congressional seat runs approximately 500,000 people. All right, 500,000 people in a congressional district.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have lost 3, you have lost close to 1.5 million people.
Mm.
Where did they used to live?
No longer in New York, that's for
No,
sure.
no. I get that they no longer live in New York, but I'm just saying, what happened to the places where they used to live? Who lives there now? Right? You have 1.5 million people live in New York City, and that's just some who the census can take a hold of. We're not talking about people who are not registered, who don't register, who have also left in droves. So the real issue is, do we really need more housing, or do we need more affordable housing? I think that's where the question comes in. And again, like Jennifer just wrote, hey Zakia. Hey
Hello.
Zakia, you know what? I miss you, Zakia. I was actually gonna call you today, but I was resting up, so I didn't use up too much energy talking before the show today. But definitely call me tomorrow.
You
Right?
know, you made a point. Every time you every corner you turn around, they're building a new building.
And they're empty.
Yeah. So who are they building it for? Then
Right.
to take it off. The storage. That's the problem. They're taking supermarkets, vacant supermarkets, whatever they are, to turn it into storage. Why? Because you're creating these little boxes for people to live in, charging them $5,000, and then saying, "Hey, it's all good." It's not.
And
It's
and
not.
and and that's a problem, right? That's a major issue. And Mayor Adams, Kathy Hochul, the people in charge, and city council is a waste of goddamn time.
We are
The city
unhappy
council,
with those
the city
situations.
council is a waste of time. These Democrats that are so far to the left. For full disclosure, ladies and gentlemen, I have voted Democrat for a number of years.
Mm.
So for full disclosure, so I don't want anybody to think like I'm a Republican, right? By my voting record. But these Democrats to the far left, Bill de Blasio, and the people like Bill de Blasio who are far to the left have affected many things, many things. And this is one of them, right? That they want to create 2 cities, right? You want to create Manhattan, mid Manhattan, and lower Brooklyn, right?
Look what you said. Okay, Roger. I work in the city council.
Yeah, but Jennifer, and that's okay. There's nothing saying that
Not
that
saying everybody is the same.
right,
Correct. Not
right.
everybody is the same.
I'm
But
saying that the overall premise of city council is that it is too far to the left. They are involved in every part, and they want to be involved in every part of your lives. No, I'm not voting Republican, right? Because there's certain social issues that Republicans stand for that I don't stand for. For example, I don't believe in abortion. That I personally don't believe. I personally would not want an abortion without discussion with my spouse or whoever I'm having a child with. However, I don't think the government should be so intricate in your lives that they want to stop you from making that personal decision. So that's a big deal for me. The second one is gun laws. though I believe in the Second Amendment, I don't believe that there are too many states that um, make it too easy to get guns. New York makes it too hard, but certain states makes it too easy. So those two, I have a hard time accepting. And as a middle class American, um, the rich, you have the excessive rich getting more. You have more billionaires
Mhm.
last year and more poverty last year than anything else, right? And so and so when you look back at 2020 and those years as they build these things,
Mhm.
you have the Republican component that's causing these issues. So you find that most middle class states that are democratic states have more economic success.
Mhm.
So I have to bear those things in mind. However, I have to look at leadership, right? I have to look at leadership.
Very
Um,
unhappy.
and so I don't, so again, going back to the housing, we have to argue not for more housing, but we have to ask for making affordable for New Yorkers to live in New York.
Mhm. Jennifer mentioned storage is only placeholders to come back later, rezone, and do housing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And it's like popping out. You know what's crazy on East New York? Literally across the street from each other, there's two storage places. I go down certain streets, other streets, there's two or three storage places across each other. Like, what? You guys couldn't think of anything else but storage? It could have been a building, it could have been something, it could have been a community center, but no, two, three
They, they,
storage
they,
places.
they build they build shelters. I know two shelters, two family shelters. Um, both of them, I think, are in Community Board 18. Um,
You're right, Jennifer. We need to stop building luxury and build affordable for working families. I
yes.
guess their luxury families are going to pay for everything, the congestion pricing, the tickets, the speed, the road building, the MTA. So they're waiting on all those luxury clientele to pay for everything. You know, you know, it's not meeting the needs of the people. I think people are the governor did not pay attention to the New Yorkers. She totally ignored, oh, it was a law. The person who actually enacted the law and said, hey, we should do this in 2019, even came back and said, hey, we should put a stop to this congestion pricing because the city is not prepared 100% for that. Let's try to get back. He had no idea that COVID was going to happen and everything was going to go haywires. And it's taking years to build up back to where we were. There was no consideration about that. The goal was MTA needs money, MTA needs money. Every year, MTA needs more money. There's bailout or whatever. No one is paying attention to how are they actually spending the money that they have. They said, "Hey, we're going to put a freeze on the overtime." How much overtime were they doing ahead of time? No other job have overtime unlimited that you could just say, "Hey, I'm going to do overtime to get, to buy this and to buy that." Not on the middle class back. That's not fair. Barely they could survive. People are deciding if they're going to pay um their bills, if they're going to eat, and then now to add congestion prices to get to work, gas prices are high. Where you're living, people are debating, hey, you know what, am I going to have 10 people in a one or two bedroom in order to make it affordable? A colleague of mine moved from Texas, used to live in New York years ago, came back to Texas. He was like, I cannot believe that I cannot afford New York. And it's sad because here you're debating, okay, should I go back or should I not? So it is. You are so right, Janice, that it is mismanagement of an MTA, and it should be criminal for what they're doing. The money that they're wasting and spending, and using it, whatever, raise or whatever way that they decide, because a couple of people were caught on vacation and getting paid like lovely. But guess what? I have to pay for it. Roderick has to pay for it. My kids have to pay for it. It's not fair.
Hey, Brenda, long time. Long time. Thank you. Hi, Karen. How are you? I live in the city, and I will have to pay when I leave for work and when I return to my home. Exactly. And I know Karen, right? I've known Karen for close to 20 years, and I could officially say that she's not a multimillionaire, right? At least not her salary, right? And so that's a burden. She has a family living in Manhattan, right? And that's crazy. I my chemo doctor wants to see me 3 days a week, 3 days a week,
And they make no exception for you
right.
for congestion pricing. Like, what? It's ridiculous.
So, the camera. I mean, this is the bunch of regressive taxes that we have to do. The amount of regressive taxes that we have to do is absurd. I looked at the toll to go into the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel because I was going to chemo on
$690 something. Yeah.
On Monday. No, not Monday, on Wednesday, yesterday. No, on Saturday, I had to do a platelet transfusion and a blood transfusion. My toll was $694.
One way going into the city. Not coming back is the same thing. So you're already, yeah.
My wife had to go home because now our schedule is too tight. She had to go home to get my son Grayson. That's $694. She had to come back to the city to come and get me, right? To come and get me so that we can go to Grayson's game. $694. Right? Verrazano Bridge, coming home because this game was in Jersey. I don't even remember. I think it's $8 and change. Gothard Bridge, $16 and change. One day, I'm not doing the math, but 4 times 7 is 28, right? 16, that's 44, and then at like $8 or $9. So that's
and not including gas,
right? So that's $50-something just on tolls to travel right here in the New York City area. And then you're going to add congestion pricing. You're going to add speed camera. Red light camera, I don't have a problem with because I think red light camera provides a certain level of safety. Because people like to jump the light, and I think that's a problem, right? Because when you jump the light, it causes more accidents, right? But it's absurd. And then you compile that with expensive housing. Your salaries are not, they give you $15 an hour minimum wage, which is $600 a week, which 20 years ago, $600 a week was a nice salary, right? Because you could afford a lot of things. At $2,400 a month, come home with $1,800. You have a 2-bedroom for $1,000, if that much. Now, a 2-bedroom is running you $3,000, right? You can't afford that, So to me, we have to do better. We have to do better. But it's partly our fault too, because of who we vote into office, not the party, but who we're voting into office, right? Because you could have a moderate Democrat who's not going to okay certain things. Because I wouldn't, as a Democrat, if I was elected, I would not vote for 20 miles an hour speed limit. I'm not going to, right? So it's definitely who we're voting into office, who look at us and is convinced Yeah, you're right, Empress. Talking sometimes is a waste of time because it's not actions is better. Sometimes when you talk to your elected officials, you got to let them know, hey, we're going to help vote you out of office. Bus lanes are 7 to 7. You know how many times I drive down in New York City and you turn a 2-lane street into a bus lane 7 to 7, some places 24 hours, and you literally cause a traffic jam. The bus lane literally caused a traffic jam. Right. So 7 to 7. It's a problem. Why does it need to be 7 to 7? And in many neighborhoods it's not 7 to 7 either. In many neighborhoods it's during peak time. You know? So you have to question some of these things. What are your thoughts? I mean, I'm seeing some of your thoughts coming up.
And that's why it's important to go and vote. Vote and do your research on who you're voting for.
Yeah.
Don't just vote across, hey, you know what? I'm a Republican. I'm just going to vote all Republican. I'm a Democrat. No. Mm-mm.
I think not only that though, but I think like you have to look at people don't look at things that are important, like the judges that are coming with some of these decisions as well. I was talking to a police officer um, yesterday, and he was complaining about the bail reform law and how out there in Long Island they chopped up people chopped up a body and they were released from prison.
Yes. The Long Island crew,
Yeah, the
Suffolk
Long
County,
Island.
the Suffolk
Right.
County crew, the four.
Yes. And you know, in my head, there's a problem with that, right? So it's also about who you are sending to office. I think we need to have more moderate individuals in office, in power.
So look at today. Several things are happening today. For example, one, the immunity case where the Supreme Court justice are having the discussion about should presidents have immunity, complete immunity. They're having that discussion. What does it look like? Clarence Thomas asked, what does that look like? And what does that mean? What should be? Um, so it's going to take a little longer for them to decide and debate on that. And some of the other justice mentioned that, hey, giving a president full immunity means that they can continue to do any criminal activities. That should not be. So good discussions with that. But also another thing that happened when we talk about court cases, look at Harvey Weinstein. His conviction was overturned. So the Me Too era that started the whole Me Too era, actually having that reverse is like a slap in the face. They said because the judge did some illegal things. He had people that weren't originally on the case testify, and that became a problem. Now, the problem with that, why I'm saying it's a problem, because first of all, it's hard for females to come out and say, hey, I was assaulted. Hey, I got raped. Hey, this happened to me. But now to have it overturned because of a judge character or activities or something that they did that they know they should not have done. Um, you're not going to have it's problematic because people will hesitate coming forward. So
I think that the appeals court made the right decision.
by overturning the case.
Yes, because regardless of whether Harvey Weinstein is guilty or not,
Mm-hmm.
he needs to have
A
a fair
fair
trial.
trial. Right. That
And
I don't
and
disagree with at all.
and so introducing prejudicial evidence,
Mm-hmm.
right? When introducing prejudicial evidence is a factor
Mm-hmm.
in swaying the jury when there is no relevancy to the case,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And That's what the Court of Appeal in their decision 4-3 in the decision, the major decision, was saying. Right.
So that's important. Why we need to have correct judges. We need to have a judge who's fair, who will follow the law and do what they need to do. Not a judge who is swayed by the hype and then make a decision that needs to be overturned later on. That's a problem because
Um,
it affects so many.
yes, it does. Which is the unfortunate part about it. I don't. He's still serving 16 years in jail.
He was
I don't know.
convicted in California as well.
Hmm. Now I don't know if that will now because this one is overturned. Will
Mhm.
that will that be
They're
overturned?
investigating that one as well. They said now they need to go and investigate that one to go make sure that everything was followed completely. So that's going to be interesting.
Hmm.
Very, very interesting.
It's tough.
The judge made the error on purpose.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that the judge made the error on purpose, Dr. Ali? I mean, so you think he's a Harvey Weinstein fan, and he wanted Harvey Weinstein to get off? I think that he was helping the defense, right? Like he was helping the defense to win their case,
Mm.
right? I don't think he was thinking about the consequence, right?
But what you do in the dark always come out in the light.
It's a crack of baloney.
What?
What you do in the dark always comes out in the light. That's not true.
Well, guess what? Look at Trump. He thought he was going to get away with certain things, right?
But
All of them that got convicted.
hold on. Hold on.
Mm-mm.
Trump is a narcissistic, arrogant son of a bitch. He
His
didn't.
crew
Hold
felt
on.
that they were invincible.
Yes, but he did nothing in the dark. But he did was straightforward. I'm the president of the United States. I will get away with this. He didn't do nothing in the dark. Nothing at all. Because nothing of the 91 counts that he's charged with, we didn't know about. We might not know the exact law that he broke, but we were very aware that he made the phone calls to the people in Georgia. We're very much aware that he paid that money to Stormy Daniels. He did nothing. He didn't hide anything. He just
But
felt.
his crew did, and they felt that they could get away with it. Mark Meadows, John Eastman, Christine Bobb, Giuliani, Jenna Ellis, Mike Roman, Boris, all of them felt they were invincible. Even Huckabee was named into it. So all of them felt, hey, you know what? The president's on board. We want him back in office. So that was in the dark. They were, hey, working behind the scene. This is what's happening.
That doesn't mean, but that doesn't mean that they're working from in the dark. They're working from a place of arrogance,
fraud, forgery, conspiracy, all that.
I'm not a legal expert, so I'm just going to say working from a place of arrogance. All right, that's what I'm going to say. Yeah, you're right, Stickle. That Harvey might just it's going to be very costly to retry him because the trial was very expensive. The other thing, as well, is that I believe that Donald Trump is going to get a hung jury. I think he's going to get a hung jury, personally. You see the writings on the wall already that he's going to get a hung jury. So that's going to cost the taxpayer a lot of money to retry, if they're willing to retry, because you have all the security, all the craziness that they have to look with the media, protecting the media, everything that's involved with the case that's out there. So I don't think they might not retry Harvey Weinstein,
So you
because,
think you're just gonna let it go?
well, they might hope that the other case doesn't get overturned.
I think I'm gonna let it go. That's what you say.
Well, you never know, right? You never know. But I definitely think that Trump is going to get a hung jury, and they're not going to retry.
Mhm.
They're going to the DA is going to say, "I tried." The jury was hung, and economic burden on the city. We don't have enough to prove our case, and he's going to walk. So to me, I kind of don't see. I don't even see the need for the trial, personally. So we kind of have to figure out, what does that look like for America? That if somebody's guilty of something and is blatantly guilty, your political affiliation can't allow you to be honest,
Mm.
right? And the conversation around economics and money, the rich getting away with stuff with Harvey Weinstein.
Brenda put, I was told many years ago that New York City will be for the rich, not the middle class or those who are less fortunate. So, Brenda, are you referring to housing or criminal system?
Housing.
Because also, when you think about the criminal system and the criminal justice system, Weinstein, Trump, like you said, hey, they might not get retrial or whatever. Why? Because they have money?
Absolutely. Look! They want Simpson Estate to pay Goldman $100 million. Right? $100 million. They want his estate to pay to Goldman.
Build a presidential prison. I'm all for it. Build a presidential prison. He could be the first one. Other countries, they send people, who are prime ministers or whatever to jail. So why can't he?
Yeah, they send former leaders, former leaders and highly elected. I mean, we have had a few actually that went to jail. Going back to what I was saying, we have. I just lost my train of thoughts.
So we were talking about the rich and the criminal justice system.
Right. I was saying about O.J. Simpson,
Mm-hmm.
and his lawyer has decided that he's going to fight tooth and nail to ensure that the Goldman and the Brown family get nothing. But my thing is, I never understood it back in '95. I never understood it, that they found him guilty of the possibility that he's responsible for the death of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman, but he was found innocent of the murder. I never understood that. I'm still baffled by it 20, almost 30 years later.
Mm-hmm.
about the case when the decision was made in '97 for the civil lawsuit, um, which didn't call for jail time. That always baffled me. And now that he's dead, they're suing for $100 million.
Yeah, we weren't here when he did pass away to discuss that. It's just sad because at the end of the day, things that you do will tarnish your legacy for life, even if you're considered innocent. In people's eyes, you're guilty. So
Yeah,
even if the criminal justice system found you innocent, to many, you're still considered guilty.
but again, why is he paying? If he was legally not guilty of their death, why is he still considered to be culpable for their death? So if anybody wanna answer that for me, I would appreciate it. But for me personally, I am so confused, right? And I've always been, always been. And I'm glad the lawyer is going to fight it, right? I'm glad the lawyer is going to fight it. Um, they said that he didn't admit to anything like they were expecting for him to admit to it. One person said that he hired the mafia to kill his because she was having an affair. Well, not having an affair, she was seeing somebody. So he hired the mafia to kill her. And
Yeah.
Ron Goldman was the casualty of war. Um, but the target was Nicole Brown Simpson. That's an allegation. But again, but again, you know, why are they still going after this man? Right? Why they still? He's like he goes down in infamy as one of the most infamous,
Hated
hated. He went from America's
hero.
guy um,
You're
to
right.
a villain, right?
Guilty in the court of public opinion. Good luck fixing that.
That's exactly what it is.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but that's a problem, and we don't see anything wrong with the system for that. Now, had he been found guilty, I could say, um, you think so, Benev? You think that O.J. Simpson's fame and money um, made helped him? Everybody knows that. Okay, so you're saying that O.J. Simpson's fame and money helped him to make everyone believe that he did it.
I
Yeah,
think. Mm,
but it's a
I don't know who's
subjective.
saying that, but Nave is saying that. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
but I don't. You have to look at he was found not guilty. His
Hmm.
fame and money might have allowed him to afford the best lawyers. If a glove don't fit, you must acquit. And
Yes,
and the glove didn't fit,
it didn't, Mr.
right?
Clark.
And so his fame and money probably got him off.
Hmm.
I think white America wanted him to be guilty.
Yeah, they wanted him behind jail for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Many years. As much as people say, hey, we're okay with integration and white and black couples, they're not. They're not. So, and that's a clear example of how, even though we say something, we're showing that we're not there. We're going backwards in times and everything. We were having a discussion, Roderick, about how with the Arizona law that was put in place and pre civil pre-civil war time, how a lot of things are our rights are being taken away slowly but surely. It's reverse, 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 take away, take away, take away. Our kids have less right than we did years ago, and
I
that's a
don't.
problem.
Our kids have more rights than we do. Our,
No, 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 no. Some things are being reversed, and we need to pay attention to that.
our kids have far more rights, far more rights than.
That's right, Janice. We need to change the law. If you are found innocent, you should not be able to get money.
Mhm. Like our children are far more protected under
You
the
think
law.
so? I don't
Absolutely.
know. I don't know. I don't know. Our listeners, what do you think? Do you think our children are more protected now, or that with many times other states and other places are looking backwards to see what the good old days, what their so-called good old days are,
What?
and that's what they're aiming for?
Like what? Like
If
what?
you're gonna look to reverse
That's
abortion
but
rights
but that has
and
nothing.
to
But that.
go back pre-civil wars, so
But,
that's one
but wait,
affirmative
wait,
act.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. First of all, let's just make a correction that the GOP voted to repeal that
Hmm.
law
Yes,
earlier.
they did.
But
But the
that,
fact that they
well,
look back.
hold on, hold on. The fact is that has
Hmm.
nothing to do with children's right. It has everything to do with reproductive rights and violation, which is what I discussed earlier today. It has nothing to do with children's rights. The children,
I didn't say children in general. That's not what I was meaning. Overall, our young people coming up, affirmative action, certain things that we fought hard for are being reversed. So, and we have to pay attention to these signs, because next thing is
oh,
voting rights.
yeah.
They've been trying to aim to eliminate voting rights, then affirmative action, then,
Well, affirmative action is not about young people. Affirmative
no,
action
no, no,
is
no. I'm just using that. Okay. Correction. I don't mean children in general. I'm making a phrase like we have to pay attention to these things.
I mean,
Our
you
young
have to,
folks
you
come,
have to,
you know,
we have to be cognizant of the trend of America.
mhm,
What are they doing from a racial economical component? Like, what are they doing and why? Right? And why they're doing it? Right? Because it goes both ways.
mhm,
Um, right? So, but the fact is that certain things, I think part of the problem is that it's the young people why they're losing some of these rights, right? It's the young people why, um, because they came up with it,
mhm,
and so because they came up with it, they felt that I can't lose it, so
mhm,
I don't need to fight for it, right? So they're not fighting for affirmative action. Don't even know
mhm.
what that looks like, right? Until they're about to lose it, then they want to fight, right? Voting rights. Some young people don't even vote, right? And then, um, so they don't even know what it's like to uh, lose the right to vote. So you have those issues.
But
So
one thing I could say, young people are very vocal right now about how they feel. Look at the protests taking place in the various colleges across not only tri-state, but it's starting to spread overall. They're saying enough is enough with the war. Enough is enough with criminal activities. Enough is enough with genocide. Enough is enough. So they're very vocal about what they want, what they don't want. So that you're starting to see a trend. But with being vocal don't mean being destructive or using hate words and slang and fear. to that extent. So it's a fine line, very, very fine line. What are your thoughts, Mr. Daly?
I think you're right. The provocation of society is the young people, but the problem is that a lot of it, a lot of it is reactionary,
Okay.
and we have to focus on the fight that we know, because sometimes you don't know until it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
But but other times you just don't come out to hear the information,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you hear it, you recognize how egregious it is, and then you want to change a course of action, a motto that's already in place.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not feeling strong, uh, so
But
um,
it's all good. You
yeah.
know what? We're happy that you were able to get on, first of all,
Hmm.
and go back and forth and share your highlights on different things. So we
Yeah,
know you're not 100%, but you know what? You still popped up. And we thank you for that. So,
yeah.
on note, I think we're going to cut it short this evening, ladies and gentlemen. My partner in on the radio needs to get some rest. We do thank you all for joining us. Um, and thank you, Kevin, and all our listeners for tuning in, for sharing. I'm going to read your thing. They're being vocal, but what should change look like? It's easy to oppose an issue, but deriving workable solution is a whole different ball game.
That's
So
true.
that is so true, 100%. When people fight, have a plan, give solutions. Hey, not just one thing. Hey, this is what we want to do. This is how we actually can help with change, not just protest. Be about it.
Kevin, you're absolutely correct. What is your plan? And all around the country, you have all these Ivy League schools are fighting for Palestine, and um, but there's no agenda. What are
Hmm.
you know, what is the focus?
And Brenda, thank you for your comment. Tracy, thank you. We do love you, Rudy. And then Brenda wrote, do you think we're slowly going into dictatorship and no one sees it since government is making all, oh, John, look at your perfect
Uh,
timing.
So you and
All
John,
decision.
I'm gonna log out. I'm gonna log out. I'm gonna
John,
let.
our partner, is not feeling too good right now.
What's up, Mr. Daly?
I'm gonna log out, John, and then you and Dr. Brian can continue.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
I'm just
Yo,
feeling extremely weak,
okay. So you
but
need to go and get something to
so I'm gonna
eat.
go lay down. I'm gonna lay
Yeah.
down. I'm gonna lay down. But yeah,
Love you, man. Thank you for
yeah,
coming on.
Go smoke a little weed, Roderick.
that might help. That might help. That might help. All right. Good night. Good night, everyone, and thank you so much.
Good night,
Hmm.
Roger. So, Brenda, you brought up an interesting. Thank you for joining us, John. Good
Thank
evening.
you
Good
for
evening.
having me, Dr. Brian.
So, do you think we're slowly going into a dictatorship and no one sees it since government is making all the decision for us, not just us? I mean, people in general.
What decisions is government making for us?
Brenda, question for you. So we've been talking about a couple of different things. A couple of different things. We spoke about protests briefly. Um, Kevin brought up the fact that people are being vocal about change, but what does it look like and what should it look like? And it's easy to oppose, but deriving workable solution is a whole different ball game. So
Correct.
yeah. So some good conversational piece this evening. So we spoke about your favorite president.
Donald Trump.
Of course. We spoke about him and all his legal issues and
Hmm.
some of the conversational piece from Earl. People don't think that he's going to be convicted. We mentioned that already. Some people don't think he's going to be convicted, but it's a waste of money, Roderick says, to our system overall, in general, the taxpayers. So
You know,
that's
on this one,
because look at
I
Weinstein.
don't know. I don't. I think I need to know what the underlying crime is that they're talking about here. To defame your rivals, to catch and kill stories. That's part of politics.
Mhm.
My thing is, and this is what I've always protested, that things under state law that are not crimes, but then the feds come in, and just because they think is a crime, they try to create a crime out of it. And this is the reverse, because I don't know if this is actually a crime, because the feds didn't even decide to pick it up for even campaign violations. And now you have the state picking it up and trying to use state law. So I've always had an issue with prosecutors being creative in finding a crime. Irrespective of, who Trump is, but justice is justice. So if you are all about Lady Justice and the system, which I can tell you, we all know that when it comes to people of color, the system is never, ever blinded. There always seems to be a hole in the Lady Liberty's blindfold when it comes to people of color. But now Trump has realized, and it's interesting, all Republicans always used to be law and order. They never questioned the judicial system until they themselves have gotten caught up into the system. We have been talking about this systems for decades, how the law is not applied equally, how the system is corrupt. They talked about, even with the Supreme Court today, they talked about objective versus subjective. When it comes to people of color, it always seems to subjective. It's never being objective. We never get the benefit of the doubt. We are guilty until proven innocent. That's how it is for people of color, and that's how we feel. And now Donald Trump is feeling the same way. When we've talked about this system for decades. So you may not like Trump or his ways or his policies, but when it comes to what's going on in this criminal justice system, I don't know. I'm waiting to see where the crime is, where the underlying crime is in this whole thing. Everybody talks about a conspiracy, but you have to conspire to commit a crime. So what is the crime that he's committing? And everybody's going to say, well, it's in-kind contributions, well, you have to make that case. But so far, we're just getting tabloid information. Donald, I think, Trump's biggest thing is, former President Trump's biggest issue is he blatantly says he doesn't know these women and he never slept with them. He never did. And now you're going to get these women coming on the stand, and it's just going to be embarrassing for him, because everybody, what's interesting, everybody knows he's lying about it. And Fox, especially Fox News, get all these details out. I want to see how they spin it, because he lied. He lied about the relationships that he had with these women. And why would he lie? Because he know it might impact, especially after that video. So it's just interesting. It's just interesting how we just don't call it as we see it. Everything we look
about that, he lied about many other things.
Yeah. Trump is. He tell a lie long enough to believe it. He know he slept with this woman. He wouldn't have never paid if I would have never. It's interesting. Trump never, if you listen to it, was never involved in the payment of the guy who wanted $30,000 because he said he had some love child. What's interesting is that Trump was never involved in that payment, or Trump didn't know anything about that payment because that was not true. But as to the other two, he knew there was some semblance of truth to the other two. He knew it.
Are you referring to Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, I'm not referring to Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm talking about the other two women, Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels.
Oh, okay. Listen, nobody cares about that. It's unfortunate that nobody cares about who he's sleeping with. As long as it's not you, we wouldn't care less. And like Roderick mentioned, it's taxpayers' money that's paying for this. To hear what he's doing in his bedroom, I could not care less.
No, nobody cares that. I think that's what the point that they're trying to make. But the point they're all trying to say is that, he did all of this. Basically, this should have been declared. These were contributions that should have been declared. That's what they're trying to say. He circumvented the campaign finance, but the feds didn't go after him, I wonder why not.
Now about that, about the others who were indicted in Arizona and some other states.
What's that about? Yeah.
How will that affect him?
I don't think he's an unindicted co-conspirator, so that won't affect him.
Okay.
That ain't gonna affect him at all. He's an unindicted co-conspirator, big deal.
And what about the others? How does that affect them?
I mean, it'll affect them, but it ain't affecting Trump.
He could still continue to run and everything.
Come on, Trump is with all this, man. Trump is. But what's mind blowing is how if this was any other candidate, they would have their chances would have been tanked. But obviously, it seems he continues to get momentum.
Yeah, because a lot of people want him back in office.
Yeah.
A lot of people want him back in office.
Yeah, they
do. Teflon Don.
Oh, I don't know if it's about Teflon, but people want him back in office. That's
what Kevin says. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
And you wonder why they want him back in office. But you want to know why. What's interesting to me is why can't our freaking why can't our guy get any momentum, man? What's the problem with Biden?
What do you mean?
Well, what's going on? We ain't getting no momentum. The polls, he's,
because people are a lot of people are feeling that not enough progress have been made, and that's the problem.
Progress? What type of progress? When everybody talks about the economy, how the economy is doing well, and it's interesting. In the last 3 weeks, I've seen gas prices go up 40 cents.
Mm-hmm. And we also noticed that the speed limit is going down as well.
Yeah, speed limit is going down. Yeah.
Yeah, price is going up. A lot of things are going up.
So what the problem is like the everyday American is getting squeezed, and that's why they're so disgruntled. But do you think Trump is going to do any better? Hell no. It'll be far worse with him. Look at the tax cuts. We're paying for his tax cuts now.
Kevin mentioned the Middle East issue is more problematic than you think. It has so many people turned off from Biden.
Yeah, for what? You know what? You know what? Put yourself in his position. Everybody says put yourself in Biden's position. You're the president of the United States. Israel is an ally. All right. Hamas has went in there. They just, they did what they did October 7th. Okay. So how is there any justification for that? Everybody's going to say, well, it's their land. Okay. That's history. But what's going on now? How can we rectify the situation? What can be done to rectify the situation? All
So,
parties are not going to be happy, but how can we rectify the situation where innocent men, women, and children stop getting killed? Everybody, so what's the solution then? What is the solution? And the whole point is you got Hamas who are using their own Palestinian people as shields. When it comes to the resources that are coming in, Hamas are taking them first. So, I mean, everybody can just sit there and complain and play Monday morning quarterback. So what's the solution? Everybody, Israel moves out of it. Fine, Israel backs away. Here, you take the land. What do you think's going to happen?
what do you think is going to happen? Well, here's the thing. Israel.
And to all my villagers, why do you think Israel is where it's at, surrounded by all the Muslim countries? Think about it.
Surrounded by
Yeah,
all
Doc.
countries. No, let me read what Kevin says, and then I'll go back to my thought. I agree with you, but no one is looking past the surface. So the person in power
That's
takes
the problem. Look past the surface.
or not.
What you said, Doc?
No. Kevin wrote warranted or not.
Yeah, Kevin, go ahead.
So I think people are upset about the fact that money for the war is being sent to Israel. Now, when it's okay for Israel to defend themselves. They're not saying it's not okay for Israel to defend themselves. But I think what people are upset about is the attack on innocent people that become sacrifice of war. So that's
Because of why are they becoming why are they being sacrificed in this war? The Hamas is hiding amongst the people.
if they can pinpoint exactly what Hamas is, it'll be great instead of saying, oh yeah, we made a mistake here, or we made a mistake in Iran, we made a mistake there.
So how can you do that when they are amongst the people?
So they were in Iran when they actually bombed Iran. Hamas was hiding over there. Hamas was in the hospital with the babies just born. I don't know.
Yep.
And everywhere can't be Hamas. Oh, we thought, innocent people. If you're going to pinpoint exactly who. So the problem that a lot.
And war is not an exact science. You can pinpoint, but there's going to be casualties of war.
But people who are in charge of the war, the people who are directing, need to know what they're doing instead of not know what they're doing.
Well, you know what you're doing, but there's a certain amount of risk that's going to take place. We all know that. Even when you do your insurance, the calculation, the actuaries know there's going to be there's going to be amount of risk that's taken. They know that. That's how they calculate it.
Celia wrote, how do we justify billions to Ukraine and Israel, nothing for Haiti and some of the African countries? Why this undying support for Israel? Is a Jewish
You know
life
why?
more than yours?
No. You know why? You know
And
why?
mm-hmm.
You know why?
Go ahead.
Because our elected officials are not standing up and saying we want money for Haiti. You know what these Republicans do? These Republicans are willing to shut everything down. You know, Johnson had to go across the aisle to get Democrats to support him. You know, so our colleagues need to do the same thing when it comes to getting the support for Black and brown people. That's it. We have to be more vigilant in the efforts, in our own efforts.
Kevin, wisdom, my friend. I like my job, so I'll temper my comments, laughing out loud. And thank you for what you're saying, John. So you're saying that the elected officials are not doing enough for the other countries. Is that
They're not. They're not. They're not. They're not. They're not. They're not. They're not.
mm,
They're not forcing the hand of the president and everybody else that we want certain funds. You know, it's difficult. The Republicans may not see it, humanitarian, but you know what? Force their hands. Like they should have cut it. Like, you know what? Perfect example. You see how TikTok is going to be banned unless the Chinese are completely divested from it. It was we call that the omnibus package. That's the package which includes everything. Because it includes all those other things that you wouldn't vote for if it was standalone. But now, since we're talking about aid for Ukraine, aid for Israel, so if you don't vote for this package, everybody's going to say you don't support Israel, you don't support Ukraine. But in that package, you're also getting rid of TikTok. So we call those the big ugly. Include things in there that people really wouldn't vote for if it was just standalone. But now, you know, they're looking to get rid of TikTok. So all your TikTok followers, influencers, they're about ready to take it away from you.
Kevin says, don't you find it strange that you can freely comment about our own leaders, but it is not the same as it pertains to Israel policies?
What do you mean by that? I don't understand.
Kevin, John would like for you to elaborate.
To challenge Israel's policies? The policies to defend yourself. Somebody comes in there and kills your people. What are you going to do? Everybody's going to say, well, the history and everything else. You know what? This is the moment. This is the moment now. This is what transpired. You're going to push back at that point in time. And if you're going to attack, you know what? Don't attack, you know, innocent young people who really are not who were born after this whole conflict, who don't even know the history of what's going on. You know, you're going to kill them. You know, I mean, if you're going to do something, if you're going to do something like that, pinpoint those who are involved in government, those who are involved in the military. If you're going to do that.
Here, you know what? For example, Celia wrote, have you forgotten that Israel supported Hamas to destabilize?
Yeah, I remember Israel supported Hamas, just like the United States has supported Iran at one point in time. The United States supported the Ayatollah at some point in time. They supported all those when it was in the best interest of the United States. So come again, give me something else.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But here's the thing. When people protest, if you're going one way, is that what you're referring to, Kevin? If you go one way, one direction, then your job might be on the line. Is that what you're saying, Kevin? Because Google actually fired workers over pro-Palestine protests. They shouldn't have held it at the office, but it is. If you're going to be political, there's
Don't
the
hold it at the office.
mm-hmm. It
That's what
shouldn't
they
have
actually don't hold it. Don't
right,
hold it at the office.
right. It should not have been in the office. But the thing is, do that at your own time.
Yeah, do it on your own time. Not don't do it on my dime.
So Kevin wrote, I think you misunderstood me. You can get easily blacklisted for commenting unfavorable about Israel policy, but it's okay to comment about US policies.
You can comment about U.S. policies, and you can comment. You should be able to comment about Israel's policies.
So
Shouldn't be.
Roderick, and many times we had conversation about this, that once someone disagree with things that's happening, they automatically think that you're anti-Semitic, and that's the
That's
problem.
that's true. Once
And
you voice criticism, everybody thinks you're against the Jews or whatever it is. Once you voice criticism,
and I
it's
think
like
that's
protesting.
right.
We fail to be open minded. That's what it is. We fail to be open minded.
Yeah, that if you decide, hey, you know what, it's only one. No, a lot of people suffered as a result of war. And that's the problem. And I think that the young folks are protesting enough is enough is enough. They don't want no more war. They're tired of the war. That's what they're saying. They're saying, hey, you know what? These innocent people are being killed in a fight and a war for no reason. So they have it.
How is it? No. How is it no reason? How is it no reason?
When you're innocent,
Didn't Hamas just kill all those people on October 7th?
yes, October 7th, Hamas killed those people.
And they initiated something, right?
October 7th to now, there's been a lot of casualties of death. Not 250, not missing people, thousands of people who have died. Babies, females, teenagers, all of that from war. That's the
So
problem.
Doc, so tell me what the answer is.
What the
Give
young
me a solution.
enough with the war. Can we come to a solution? Can we find a
How
solution?
can you come to a solution when nobody wants to sit at the table? How do you want to come at the solution? You say I'll let 3 hostages go if you let 300 people who are incarcerated go. Come on.
I don't know. We're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna go back and forth, and that's
Uh-huh.
Kevin.
That's it.
Sorry,
Exactly.
Kevin. I doubt Google would have fired their workers if they were protesting Palestine. They were. Google fired the people who were protesting pro-Palestine on property. Google. Let me make sure. Google has fired more than 50 staffers in the wake of an in-office protest over the company cloud computing deal with Israel, according to an activist group representing the former employee. So that's what they got fired for, because they're protesting against a deal that they had with Israel.
Right,
So
right.
that's what the issue is. No Tech for Apartheid has protested the clouds computing contract Google and Amazon have with the Israeli government since 2021. Google fired more than 20 employees Monday night, bringing the number of total firing to 50 since last week. So the firing came after 9 employees were arrested on April 16 during sit-in protests at Google office in New York City and Sunny Valley, California. The
Right.
protests at Google, like those at Columbia and other colleges across, have risen in the wake of Israel invasion in Gaza and humanitarian crisis.
Uh-huh.
Israel's action came in response to October 7th attack by Hamas on Israel that killed 1,200. So
Right.
there's people are at work protesting because of activities that's happening amongst companies. So that's where it was a protest against pro-Palestinian.
Hmm.
Um, Celia wrote, "What about the guys blatant disrespect to the U.S. president and Americans and still benefiting from our tax dollars?" I don't know, Kevin. You wrote, "If they were protesting against Palestine, they would not have been fired." I don't know. We don't know. We don't know. That's above our pay grade. We
Would they
don't.
have been fired?
They're protesting in office. That was the problem.
Uh-huh.
In office is the problem.
I think if they would have been protesting in Palestine in Google, I think Google would have fired them too.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Google would have fired them.
Okay, so earlier we were talking about Harvey Weinstein. The
You see that shit? You see that? The judge letting all that prejudicial information, letting all that prejudicial information to Harvey Weinstein.
so we mentioned that earlier and how his conviction is now overturned.
Right? But he still got convicted in California, so
But
he's
now
still
they're
livable.
going to check that out to see if the same thing happens.
Right? Exactly. Exactly.
So what do
That's
you,
going to be,
is
that
that
Me
going?
Too movement was a very powerful movement.
It is. It is. It
Very
was.
powerful.
Uh-huh. And it's still going about till this day.
Still is. Still
So
is. Uh-huh.
now,
Still is.
how do you think that will be affected?
How what will be affected?
How the Me Too movement will be affected by this?
I mean, this is one case. It will be, he has to be retried, and we'll see what happens.
Okay. Celia wrote, Hamas killed people on October 7th. That's called retaliation. Why was Hamas allowed to get that far into Israel?
And
Think
see,
that?
now you're making a very good point, because there has been talk that Netanyahu the year before knew of something of this sort was going to happen, but did not do anything. And some think, it's conspiracy theorists or whatever it is. Some think he did it on purpose so it can distract from his own legal wars, and so he can his legal his
When?
his legal issues, and so he can still stay in and maintain his prime ministership, his position. So there have been criticism with respect to that. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, because here it is. Wasn't the same time that New York City had some of their police department in Israel learning about their high security? They
Yes.
have like top security and everything. So it shows
Hmm.
that even though you might think you have everything together, always be on guard, always be prepared because
Always.
what? You might think you're safeguarded one way, but you're always going to have haters on another way. So always be, keep your eyes open.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your eyes open, because if you are the example for others and you show your weakness, guess what? You're not that top notch as you think you are.
True, true.
You let your guards down somewhere along the line. So that's that. That's that. Anyway, we're coming to an end of our wonderful. The judge got caught up in the Me Too movement. Oh Lord, real funny, Kevin. Real funny. One thing I know is that every time there has been major conflict, Palestine loses more land. War is not something that no one benefit from. Some people might. Some people do benefit, like Andre always say. People benefit from it. Some business benefit from it, but unfortunately,
Businesses, the defense manufacturers always benefit from it.
mm-hmm. But unfortunately, the people who are, you know, we're grateful that we're not at war, and every
Right.
day that we are not fighting or ducking or whatever is a day to celebrate. Every day
Amen.
that we're alive and we're out of the hospital and we're not suffering is a day to celebrate. So I think overall, as we sum up our day, be thankful to be able to have open conversation like this without feeling as though we're going to jail because we're opening up our mouth and sharing our thoughts. And the freedom that we have right now, don't take it lightly, because so many others don't have. So,
Amen.
any lasting words?
Listeners, once again, thank you for coming out. I apologize for my tardiness, but I'm taking classes, taking Mandarin classes, so that's why I've been late. Get on about 8 o'clock. So I apologize. Hopefully, a couple of more months, and then I'll be able to have some semblance of a conversation with the villagers speaking Mandarin. But once again, thanks again for your support, and have a great evening, but most of all, a great weekend. Until next time.
Yes, and please keep our fearless leader, Roderick Daly, in your prayers as you soar this evening. Even though through sickness and through everything, he comes out to share information and love with his listeners. So let's continue to share love, share knowledge, pull up somebody along the way and let them know, hey, you know what? I love you, man. And make sure that you mean it, because tomorrow's not promised. So celebrate people in the time that they're here and let them know how much they are valued. So that's why we tell you, listeners, thank you so much for joining us. We value you joining the conversation and sharing what we're doing around. And thank you,
Amen.
Silly, for your last comment. Free speech is being attacked. Democracy is a very fickle thing. The Speaker of the House showed up at Columbia University calling for the president to resign. Can't believe what's happening. But here's the thing, people are able to go out and vote. If you don't like something, be the change that you want to see. Remember that.
Amen.
Be the change you want to see. Thank you, our listeners. Thank you, Sophia and Andre, for being there. And again, Mr. Daly, we love you and we thank you for coming on this evening. Feel better. And listeners, we'll see you next week. God bless. Take
God
care.
bless.
Bye-bye.